The White House remaining quiet on that Durham report, a new bombshell court filing from the special counsel revealing that Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign paid a tech company to mine data from servers at the White House and Trump Tower. So what does the Durham report do now to Hillary Clinton's ambitions for 2024? Newsmax White House correspondent John Gizzi has more on this story for us today. John.
Well, the White House isn't commenting, but most political analysts believe that the Durham report, well, that it slows the momentum that former Secretary of State and 2016 Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton may have had in a third bid for the White House. Right now, the whole charge of spying on the Trump campaign and indeed of leaking information to the CIA in 2017 has been laid out in detail. This is certainly not going to help anyone who thinks that Hillary Clinton has another chance. Already, Republican members of Congress have begun speaking out against the Durham report. Jim Jordan, the ranking Republican on the House Judiciary Committee, said that this proves the claims of former President Trump and his campaign that they were spied upon back in 2016 in his first run. We've only started to hear the beginning of this, and 4 days after Special Prosecutor Durham made his report public, it's certainly being debated and amplified. We'll have more on this as the story develops. Back to you.
John Gizzi live in Washington. Thanks, John.
Let's go a little deeper into this and bring in political analyst Mark Halperin, host. Well, he's just Mark Halperin right now. The Mark Halperin Focus Group is on hiatus. I forgot to update the script. So Mark Halperin, best-selling author and so much more, here with his insights. Great to have you, Mark.
Good to be here, John. You call me occasional host. Maybe.
Occasional host. Okay. All right, so I just want to get your reaction to the report from our good friend John Gizzi there. I was a little surprised. Was there any Hillary Clinton momentum to talk about?
There is, and not only that, but it's a rare instance in which John Gizzi and I disagree. I think this is something that's not going to slow her down, even though there are those who say it should. I believe right now she is the most likely Democratic nominee in 2024. She's giving a big speech to the Democratic Party of New York this week. And I think the allegations here related to her team are just as likely to rally Democrats around her because of the nature of our polarized system as they are to undermine her chances, at least to be the Democratic nominee.
Yeah, there are people out there who probably feel like Hillary Clinton didn't do enough to try and stop Donald Trump, I guess. And, you know, maybe if she went to Wisconsin, you could also put that in that category of doing more to stop Donald Trump. But I digress. I wanted to talk to you. We were kind of talking about the Chappaqua five-step and Jake Sullivan. There are some people thinking that Jake Sullivan might be the next one named in an indictment here from Durham's report, but you say not so fast. Tell us why.
Well, look, I think it's important for those who want to understand this story, which is complicated, and maybe some Newsmax viewers who would like to see Team Clinton take some hits here. It's important to distinguish between what's illegal and may produce indictments, and then what's just kind of the dark arts of American politics, which deserves scrutiny and maybe some criticism. In this case, it's pretty clear that Team Clinton had as their habit what I call the Chappaqua five-step, which I'll shorthand here, basically come up with some information, have a meeting with the FBI or the Justice Department, then leak to a friendly reporter, hey, did you know about this thing? It's being investigated. Then the friendly reporter writes a story that says Donald Trump's being investigated by the feds. They put out a press release, which is what Jake Sullivan did in this case. And then Hillary Clinton tweets it out. That five-step is, some would say, smart politics. It's the kind of the inside view, maybe the seamy underbelly of a rock about how both sides practice politics. But in this case, again, maybe nothing illegal. Maybe some people would say very clever. But you take it from a set of sketchy or false allegations, and all of a sudden you got Hillary Clinton tweeting out Donald Trump's broke the law.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can kind of see where it goes. You know, you call the FBI as a reporter. They can't confirm or deny the investigation actually exists, and you put that quote in there, and all of a sudden a lot of headlines are generated here. But I don't know. I mean, savvy, maybe, but disgusting, I think, also is what this is to a lot of people, Mark Halperin. I mean, you can really see what opposition research looks like, how far it's willing to go, how much sway someone like Hillary Clinton has to be able to even get those types of meetings with the FBI.
Exactly.
That's not available to your average candidate. And what I always tell people, is think about this if it wasn't Donald Trump. If you didn't, and I have this conversation with people who despise Donald Trump. Just imagine if it was somebody that you actually agreed with politically, that this could happen, that it could go this far. The other thing, too, that a lot of people discount, or maybe not, or you might not be taking into account here, is how compliant the media was with all of this. And again, conservatives don't get that same type of opportunity. Oh, well, Hillary Clinton says there's an investigation into Donald Trump. By God, there must be. So I'm going to go ahead and run with it. And we saw that over and over again. The Pulitzer Prizes that were awarded are rewarded as a result of this as well. Is there ever going to be any kind of awakening or reckoning for that?
It's hard because reporters and news organizations would have to admit that what they did was wrong.
Yes.
And reporters are human beings. They don't like to admit mistakes. On your first point, I couldn't agree more. That's such an important part of the story. If I want a meeting, if I'm John Q. Public and I want a meeting with a senior FBI official, I can't just call up and say, take it. And remember, this was all occurring when Barack Obama controlled the FBI and the Justice Department. And I'd ask reporters what level of suspicion and inquiry they would have if this were Donald Trump's operatives in a Republican administration getting these meetings and then leaking to a friendly conservative outlet, say, hey, the Justice Department isn't looking into this. And as you said, then the reporter calls the Justice Department. They say, well, we can't comment. The story's right there. And I'll say again, Hillary Clinton and Jake Sullivan, who's now the National Security Advisor, they were out there flogging this stuff, trying to have it impact the election. Maybe there's no there in terms of the law, but it does show you how they practice politics. And as you said, I think some people would be disgusted by the way they did this.
Yeah, and when the legacy press looks at their readership and their viewership and wonders why it's half of what it was this time 3 years ago, this is why. They will never, the hardest thing to do in a newsroom is to find somebody willing to admit they're wrong. Mark Halperin, great to see you.
Thanks, John. Good to see you.